From games that were only popular for hours to games that happened to fall off twice, here are 5 games that fell off and why. Number 1. Fall Guys. At first, Fall Guys was a pretty amusing game where players could battle against each other by completing an obstacle course. When it first released on August 4th, 2020, it came with a $20 price tag, but that didn't stop many people from playing the game. Within the first 24 hours, the game had over 1 million players actively playing. Especially for a $20 game, this seemed pretty crazy. So how did Fall Guys fall off so quickly? Well, a bit later in 2020, a game by the name of Among Us quickly overtook it. But this wasn't the only reason why Fall Guys died so fast. From the start, it was a bit absurd how rapidly Fall Guys grew. I mean, it wasn't even free to play, and the game grew faster than some free-to-play games would have. But it may have been because of the great number of streamers who started playing the game. Fall Guys was one of the most viewed games on Twitch, and it was safe to say that it was in fact because of the influencers. However, those influencers became tired of Fall Guys. It wasn't like it was a battle royale or a first-person shooter type of game. It was an obstacle course that barely had any updates to it. It was just the same thing over and over again. So it died because of those 2 reasons. But later on, in 2022, the unthinkable happened. The game started to regain its active player count after falling off a huge cliff. Thousands of players started to hop on the game and play. And the reason for this increase is not that surprising. Fall Guys went free to play in 2021, and more players in 2022 started to play the game. Now you may be wondering why Fall Guys didn't spike in 2021. Well, because it was only a year after the game first released, and people were bored of it, and didn't care that it was free to play. Also, many of the players were upset that they had to throw away $20 just to see the game become free. This calls for the massive spike of new players in 2022, who hadn't got the chance to play the game before. Now, it wasn't too long before the game fell off again. Just a few months later, the game would decline down to its atrocious active player rate. But what's even worse was that the game that overtook Fall Guys fell off way harder. Number 2. Among Us. Among Us was a free, interesting game where players were spawned into a spaceship where they either got the role of crewmate or imposter. The goal of the game for the crewmates is to try to complete as many tasks as possible to avoid getting killed by an imposter. On the other hand, imposters would try to eliminate crewmates before they could finish all of their tasks. Pretty fun, right? Well, an astounding 3 million concurrent players thought so. Even though it was released back in 2018, many 2020 Twitch streamers tested the game and loved it. Everything was perfect for Among Us. They were receiving great numbers every day, but weren't aware that a huge cliff was waiting for them in the distance. Little did they know, within 8 months, their player base would drop to a low of 10,000 active players. Now, you may not think that is a low number, but compared to the numbers that they saw back in August of 2020, it was. Now, what caused this huge decrease in players? Well, it was actually very similar to the reason why Fall Guys died. The game developers barely made any updates to the game, causing people to get really bored of it. If no updates are made, then the game is just destined to die. Plus, Twitch influencers stopped playing the game because they got bored of it, calling for their followers to also take after them. It's sad to see how these good games could die, but at least Among Us stayed alive for more than a couple of weeks. Number 3. Hyperscape. Hyperscape was a free Ubisoft first-person shooter that not only had a futuristic map, but also had building mechanics and different abilities or hacks that you could use in the game. The game, the concept, the graphics were all pretty good, but the time to kill was incredibly high. It was pretty difficult to get a decent kill since movement was so quick and the time to kill was so high. Now you may be asking yourself, why would a higher kill time be bad? Well, a higher kill time means that it's a lot harder to get kills, and with a game that is so focused on movement, it just doesn't make any sense. If Hyperscape would have had a lower time to kill, then it would be an equal balance of movement and kills. It's safe to say that this was one of the problems that led to Hyperscape's downfall. It was a game that started out very strong in July of 2020, but then died very shortly after that. With the unbelievably low amount of players, it caused the game to shut down just 1.5 years later after the game's release. It's sad to see that a game literally was shut down because it fell off so hard. Number 4. Splitgate. Splitgate was a free game that came out on May 24th, 2019, but started to gain popularity around June of 2021. It was a multiplayer first-person shooter that was similar to Halo, but also had its own unique sci-fi features. The graphics really did look pretty good, and it was a game that you didn't expect to die as soon as it actually did. After becoming popular in June of 2021, Splitgate died just 3 months after that. They had a huge spike of players ranging from almost 70,000 active players to just below 10,000. So why did Splitgate die? On July 27th, 2022, Splitgate was first released on console. This is where the popularity actually started. But as time grew on, players were experiencing a lot of difficulty with connecting into the game. Once Splitgate fixed that problem with adding bots, the game just wasn't the same anymore, and it wasn't as fun. Soon enough, the game became very annoying for many, which caused them to leave. Today, Splitgate hasn't gotten another spike since and is presumed dead. Number 5. Pubg. Pubg, a game that was very similar to Fortnite but couldn't exceed it. With it being a 100 PvP battle royale, Pubg was first looked at as a very entertaining and interesting game. The graphics weren't amazing, but when the game was first released, it wasn't too much of a problem. On March 23rd of 2017, Pubg released and was hitting some very good numbers. They started off with around 100,000 active players and then skyrocketed to 1 million in just 5 months. But this wasn't it for Pubg. They soon reached a whopping 3 million active players in November of 2017. So why did this game die if so many people were playing? And my answer to you guys is one word: Fortnite. Fortnite quickly overtook Pubg with its great graphics and popular influencers. In 2018, when Fortnite first started to get popular, you could see where Pubg starts to fall off. Well, if Fortnite and Pubg were very similar games, with them both being battle royales, then why did Fortnite overtake Pubg so fast? Well, it's because of the building mechanic that Fortnite introduced. Fortnite quickly shifted the gaming world forever with this feature and also caused the death of Pubg as well. Pubg doesn't nearly see the amount of players that they used to because of the effect that Fortnite had on it. It's safe to say that games could overtake games all the way to its death. That's about it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, feel free to subscribe for more videos like this. Peace out, everybody, and thank you guys for watching.